anything as cringy as that?
I was in 2 plays, and then
No, I meant creative writing wise.
Creative writing wise, no, but I had really dark stories, and my teacher was concerned.
Based. You had Riz. You had creative writing Riz.
I wrote about a woman who didn't know how she died, and and she would wake up the week before Halloween. Like, just spawn out of the ground. It doesn't even matter where she, like, you know, like, she's so far away from, like, her original death point, it's, like, ridiculous. But she comes out of the ground a week before Halloween, and it's always funny, because every time I write this story or whatever, it changes. But it would be, like, I'd add on to it and, like, critique it. Or not critique it, but, like, edit it and stuff. And so she would come out the week before Halloween. Some unsuspecting poor dude would be like, "Ma'am, do you need help? Do you need help?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so he'd bring her in the house, and then she'd kill him, and also, you know, his family. And she would assume, like, the new neighbor on the block thing. Like, she had, like, magical, like, powers in that regard. And she would kill as many people as possible, hand out candy to the kids, and then as soon as Halloween was over, she'd go back into the ground. And my creative writing teacher was like, "That's great, Diana."
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you had to go that dark. For
You know,
one
one of the interesting things about creative writing and stuff like that, and just, you know, the writing that I do, the fiction, fantasy, prose, is one of the things, like, I always have to be careful of is, as a writer and as a budding author, it is such a sort of compliment when you can, like, you know, move someone, right? When you can make them feel emotions with your writing. It's like, oh my god, that's so cool. But then what happens is it's also at the same time very easy to, like, disturb or disgust someone, and that's usually low-hanging fruit, and people aren't usually impressed. Like, if you write something if you write something that tries to be like a horror, and people go, "Well, you won because you made me feel fucking disturbed," you know, like, that was some disturbing writing, and you went, "Ooh, yeah, that was the point, like, it was supposed to be, like, disturbing, I made you feel disturbed, I win." Like, it's one of those things where people are like, "Well, no, this is just, like, gross and weird." You know, it's like, oh no,
mine's,
you
like,
know?
weirdly, like, dark, and I didn't even, here's the thing. I was listening to the happiest music you could ever fucking listen to. Like, it was pop, it was tunes. It was like, you would have thought I was writing the happiest shit ever. And it turned into this dark horror story of a woman literally coming up out of the ground, killing people, and then going back into the ground, while also giving candy to children on Halloween. You know how fucking weird that is? Like, and I'm listening to the happiest music
that is such a
ever.
weird amalgamation of culture.
I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. Like, that was my favorite story.
That's like if Michael Myers was the Tooth Fairy, and also from that skit from Lonely Island where they're like, "I threw it on the ground,"
and she didn't hurt kids. She didn't know why. She could not remember why. But she would never attack kids. She'd never kill kids.
Yeah.
But she would go after men who were single or had a wife, and she'd kill the wife. Like, she'd kill the family that's in there. But she didn't kill, like, dogs, kids, or whatever. But she would hand out candy on Halloween. And then the Halloween night, when everyone's, you know, in bed, she, like, goes into the ground and does it all the next year.
Yeah.
And what's funny is it reminds me of the Bly Manor episode.
The Bly Manor. See, I didn't see Bly Manor. I saw Haunting of Hill House.
We saw Bly Manor, but it was a long time ago.
Okay.
No, so there's a character in there named Violet.
What is this about Bly Manor?
So because I'm talking about this story I wrote in like high school, and there is this episode of Bly Manor of this woman who gets what I assume was consumption, aka tuberculosis. And she ends up dying, and her ghost, she ends up forgetting who she is. And she doesn't know how she got there, she doesn't know whatever, but it's like she's searching for a family, a daughter, almost. And I'm realizing how similar that is to my story. About this woman fucking, like, coming out of the ground.
I mean, it almost sounds like a Supernatural cold open.
Oh, I'm at level 24.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Shinji.
Shinji,
herzlichen Glückwunsch.
So it's interesting. It's one of those things I think ultimately, and I did watch Supernatural at the time. It was an amalgamation of a lot of things. Bly Manor was not out when I was in high school. Obviously. I want to preface that. So I didn't steal anything, in case anyone accuses me of stolen content. A lot of horror stories start out that way. And I didn't even intend to write horror. So you can't even say I was copying horror. I was just writing what came to mind, and it was this fucking woman who's essentially a serial killer on Halloween. Because she just shacks up in the house. She takes a shower, she puts on the clothes, she acts like a normal human being for the week of Halloween. And then she goes back in the dirt. And whatever she is wearing the week of Halloween in whoever's house, that's what she goes in the dirt in. So each year she's going into the dirt in one outfit and coming out in another. So it's like,
oh damn, yeah, she really has to get her fashion in order, huh?
Yeah, like, and she's dirt, and it's a fun concept. But I remember also someone really liked is if you're not American, you will never understand this. But we had to write a story about 9/11. A lot of people took it. There were some very stereotypical views where they're like, "Oh my God, I'm a victim," or "I'm a loved one who's in it." Me and my friend wrote as a cat on 9/11. I wrote as the towers in the airplane.
Oh my God.
I like humanoid, I did that because I was like, I was in Saudi. The only way 9/11 truly affected me was my friends, because I lived in Saudi Arabia, and my dad, because my dad was brown, and he would get stopped at the airport multiple times. So that's how 9/11, like when people talk about effects, that is what happened. So I never felt the weird patriotic thing that happens. So I was like, I'm just gonna write as the things themselves. like the things themselves. So I'm like, this is whatever.
I remember they made, oh, what?
Oh, I was just saying, but if you're outside of the US, you can't understand that as a concept for creative writing.
Well, it would certainly be a different thing. Maybe it'd be hard to understand. But let's see. I remember this one year in high school. They ended up playing that audio that now gets made fun of to hell and back on TikTok. But when I was coming through, it was like all serious and sad. But even back then, I kind of thought that it was a bit weird that the girl was getting like sadder as time was going on. Because there's some sort of audio, and it's a girl. It's a girl throughout the stages of her life, and she's like doing like audio recordings to her dad, and it starts off like, "Hey, Daddy, Mommy says you're in a place called heaven now," you know. and it's like,
Oh,
oh, yeah, like,
oh dear.
like you start off like that, and it's like, fuck, dude, like, you're like, oh, okay, we're really gonna go for the jugular with this one, because